it's Tessa from HandleTheHeat.com, and today I'm going to be showing you how I assemble and decorate this Valentine's Day cake. If you're like me, you don't have a ton of patience or time to do super complicated cake decorating, so I'm going to show you a simple and easy way to make a gorgeous cake that anyone can do. So if you'd like to learn some easy cake decorating skills for this Valentine's Day or any other special occasion, then just keep watching. Alright, so to get started with my cake, I have gone ahead and baked 2 layers of chocolate cake using my favorite recipe, and the full recipe for this Valentine's Day cake will be available at the link below. So I'm actually going to grab one of these cake layers, and what I've done is I've actually frozen these so that they're nice and firm, because this is a super moist cake and we don't want it to be too soft and get cake crumbs all over everything. So I have my 1 cake layer here, and I also have some strawberry buttercream, and I have a whole video on how to make perfect buttercream, and I'll link to that below as well. So I have my strawberry buttercream in this piping bag, and what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pipe just a circle around the edge of this layer of cake. And what that is going to do is it's actually going to make it so that we don't have any gaps in between the layers, and we have a nice even cake, and you can't see where one layer begins and the other one ends once it's all decorated. So now I'm just going to take some more frosting for the filling and spread it around.
So my favorite tool to use for spreading frosting is a big offset spatula, and I'm just spreading a thick layer of filling, connecting it with that piping I did around the edge. And you want the middle to be nice and thick because this is the filling. And so after I've done that, I'm just popping on my other cake layer. And as you can see, I've actually flipped this layer upside down so that the bottom is facing up, and I have a really nice, beautiful flat surface for the top of my cake. So now I'm moving on to the crumb coating. And the crumb coating is a very thin layer of frosting that's applied kind of haphazardly. You don't have to worry about making this beautiful, but the purpose is to make a spackle so that none of the crumbs get into the final layer of frosting and ruin the appearance of our cake. And I'm using a cake turntable here, and I've just scraped some frosting underneath so that it stays nice and firm and planted and my cake doesn't move all around. And what I'm basically doing is just applying an even layer of frosting. You don't have to worry about using a thin amount when you get started because we can just scrape off all the excess frosting. And the only thing you want to be careful about here is that when you do scrape off the excess frosting, that you're scraping it off into a different container, because this frosting will have all the crumbs in it and we don't want to use that frosting for our final coating. So don't scrape it back into the container with the rest of your beautiful clean frosting. So it is a little bit of a tedious and time-consuming process, but the good part is with the crumb coat is that you don't have to worry about it being pretty, you just have to worry about being thin and even. And my biggest tip for making a beautiful cake with no crumbs is to, of course, do the crumb coat, but also to freeze everything. So not only were my cake layers frozen before I even got started here, but I froze the cake after I applied the crumb coat, so that way when my final coating goes on of frosting, it's perfectly smooth. It's basically a beautiful canvas for me to work with, and I'm not going to get any crumbs in my final coating of frosting. So I've just sped things up a little bit for you here because this does take a little bit of time. You're basically just applying a thick, generous layer of frosting all around and then using the offset spatula to smooth and scrape off any excess frosting so that we have a really beautiful effect. And my goal is always to get the smoothest frosting possible. I want people to question whether or not I've used fondant. That's not always possible, but it does take a little bit of practice and patience. And if you find that your frosting is getting just a little bit too messy, another great tip, the same tip, is to pop it in the freezer, and the harder the frosting is, the easier it'll be to smooth into a beautifully perfect and even layer. So my frosting is as smooth as I could get it. So now I'm going to move on to the piping that I'm going to do around the bottom of my cake. I have a pastry bag with an open star tip, and I'm basically just doing an up, then down and across motion to give me a nice swirly pattern around the bottom. And this does not have to be perfect by any means. It will take a little bit of practice, but anything that you do around the bottom of the cake is going to be that extra beautiful step. It's going to look stunning no matter what. So after I've done the bottom border, I'm going to move on to the top border, and I'm using the same exact open star tip, and I'll link to all the products that I've used in the description box below, and I'm giving the cake little frosting kisses, as I like to call them. I'm basically just squeezing my bag, then letting go of the pressure and lifting it straight up, and it gives you this beautiful effect. So my frosting is all done, and you could totally finish here or even pipe maybe a heart or a special note on the top of the cake, but I'm gonna go a step further and put some chocolate covered strawberries on top of my cake so it's super festive and super beautiful. And I have a video also on how to make chocolate covered strawberries that you can find in the link below.
I'm all done with my Valentine's Day cake, and as you can see, it's so beautiful but surprisingly easy. I really hope you guys loved this cake decorating video. If you did, give it a thumbs up and let me know what you'd like to see next time in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching, subscribe to my channel, and I'll catch you around for another food video soon.